And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the
Book, book club bros.
Book Club Bros.
Man, I had no confidence in that.
You did
I
not.
thought it
go.
through.
You
I was
did
like,
not.
is that the acronym?
Welcome
for
back to
something?
the Book Club Pros. My name is Chase. I'm here with Landon and Miguel, rocking the shades because he forgot his book, but luckily we had him covered.
We had a
Yeah.
spare book.
But
Backups, baby.
Back up.
This is our first part one series of the Gary Vaynerchuk 12 and a half, leveraging the emotional ingredients necessary for business success.
Part 1 of 4.
Part 1 of 4. So I read the actual beginning, but overall, what'd you guys think of
Sure.
this first part? We read all the way up to curiosity. No, we read all the
Patience.
way
We all
up
read
to
up to
patience.
patience.
It depends on
Page
what word you're
51.
going to use. We read patience or we read up.
we
read
read through-
curiosity or we read up to patience.
Yeah. Anyways, so how'd you guys like this first part?
It was good, bro. I think are we jumping straight into this gratitude part? Or are we going into
Just
the
Quick
are we talking about the
synopsis.
intro?
Yeah, just quick synopsis. Just
Yeah,
like
whatever
what
whatever
did
you want to do.
Did you enjoy the first
know,
half of the
man.
reading? I thought it was really good.
It's just good insight on like the reasons behind the book.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. It's always nice to know like the setup for the book.
Yeah.
And we
So-
know the setup person really well. Me and Chase were big on Gary V. He's what helped jumpstart a lot of what we do. And like now you said you've heard not everyone, but a lot of people have heard of him. I've done a lot of listening to him, so I think it's going to be cool. I think it's cool to kind of get his perspective through a book. It's a little more thought out.
Yeah.
Like you got to envision if you're writing a book, you have to be very careful with your words because you only get so many.
Well,
So-
honestly, like, just like I don't know why, but like ever since reading books, like it just like this is like exactly what I wanted. Was just like it goes just more in depth. Like you'll find a short and you'll hear the topic on a shorter YouTube video, and it obviously just because you're limited to 60 seconds, they'll just cover the topic barely. But then like actually going into like the book, they actually get in depth, which is super nice. But what did your guys' thoughts on? I forget where this was. I don't know if it was.
Did
in
you read the intro?
introduction. I did,
I did too. Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
didn't have any. I don't know if it was in the intro or not, where he his like top executive or whatever has a meeting about his employee. Where was that? You remember that?
I know what you're talking about. I
feel like
can't
that was-
remember if it was
Was that in the?
intro.
if it was
in
I don't know.
gratitude?
I marked up a little bit of the introduction.
Okay.
But
Well, we'll just
I
start
didn't
there.
know. I mean,
I didn't have anything on the intro.
maybe I
specifically.
covered it, maybe I didn't. But the first thing, it was on page XI, since they did number the introduction, not to the page numbers yet. But I highlighted a few different lines. They said, "The business world I entered into in the late '90s put the black and white on a pedestal. Business was a dog eat dog, and the an endeavor where only the strong survive." That's like the scene that he entered onto it as. And then he said, "Ironically, I also believe that ironically, I also believe that only the strong survive. I just believe that leaning into your humanity is the actual strength that will help you survive and flourish. To this day, I think the strongest person is someone who is able to deploy kindness in the face of the opposite." And I was like, that's a few good lines right there, because he even talks about it, and I'm sure he's going to go more in depth about just how fast everything is changing. But like the business scene, the social media scene, the sports scene, the music scene, like how fast it's all rapidly changing, that like even whenever he entered into it, like it sounds like I always like the perception of, you don't become rigid, like don't just stay with the times, like it's gonna change, and he's someone who's always been able to change with it.
I think that was a really good snippet out of that. Miguel, did you have anything that you remember?
No, not necessarily. Like I said, I think it was good to hear this insight from him, just the prereq to the book. Yeah, that's pretty much it for me on the intro.
Yeah. I actually did have one thing. I forgot to highlight it, but I remember it was kind of interesting to see that, like, he goes, "I started working on balancing my kindness with candor, which is interesting to see, because he's like, I realized that kindness without candor is creating entitlement within my organization. So now I've never really heard of candor, or candor. Is it candor?
It's kindness and
Let me see.
candor.
Candor.
It's more, it's candor, not necessarily
Door.
candor.
Right.
That's how I've heard it pronounced.
So now, is that like
Same.
basically like constructive criticism, basically, or like what is a synonym for candor?
I don't know, because part of what he was
Frankness,
saying whenever he
openness,
was using
honesty.
it, we could also look it up.
Yeah.
You got it?
The Oxford language says candor. It's er at the end as a noun.
Yeah.
The quality of being open and honest in expression. Frankness, a man of refreshing candor is like the reference. Similar words: frankness, openness, honesty, and truthfulness.
Okay,
Yeah,
so it's
so
like
it's
being kind but
and honest.
honest.
It's kind and
Gotcha,
honest.
gotcha.
Yeah, because the way he frames it, it makes a lot of sense. Like being people more towards the top of our thing. Like if you do too much, like you see someone making a mistake and you fix it for him and fix it for him. Like, and I know personally, I've just been like, oh, like I can keep doing this, or you can just
Right.
it's especially like whenever you're hiring new people, like
Mhm.
the only reason you hire someone is to teach someone that you could do something yourself. You just want to
Do other things.
have them be able
Yeah.
to do it. So
Yep.
But yeah, I thought that was the one thing I want to point out. The other thing I had on I actually did have a highlight on page
XV.
XVII, which
Okay.
is what is that? 17?
XVII
17.
Yep.
The growth potential of most businesses is limited by the emotional intelligence of their leaders. That goes for sports teams, families, and sovereign nations. I thought that was just interesting that, like, yeah, like at the end of the day, we're all emotional creatures, and no matter how much you know, are black and white, like
Mhm.
one thing can set you off and determine, like, and you, especially as a leader. So
But
I
if,
thought
and
that
it's
was
a
a good thing to point out.
yeah, it's a good reminder that like you actually are sometimes. That's why people, to me, like I can look at it in this light. Like that's why people move or get different jobs. Is like if you have whoever your boss is your ceiling. So
Mhm.
like if you work at Google, you might have the highest ceiling ever, right? It's a giant multi-million billion-dollar corporation, whatever. But if you work at like, a little mom and pop shop, the highest you can ever get is like assistant manager because you're not going to become the mom and pop.
Right.
So it's like, but also like attaching your thing or whatever, like if you can't get high enough or whatever, like climb high enough up the ranks, then that's why you could like want to move on or whatever, something like that.
Yeah. But did you have anything else?
Actually, I just highlighted one thing on XVIII, page 18, because it sets the tone for the book. So he said, I'm emphasizing a key concept, which may be the most important sentence in this book. When you actually understand how unimportant business is in the grand scheme of your life, it allows you to enjoy it and potentially get better at it. So he talked a lot, like the way he rounds it off is because I like Gary because he won't be put in a box. Like you may think I love this, but I'm invested in this. You think some people know me as the wine guy. Some people know
Oh,
me as
yeah.
the social media guy. Some people know me as the business guy. Like so I like that he says it doesn't necessarily say the same thing, but he says whenever he's saying, business isn't as important. He's made it a point in the actual book. He's like, business isn't as important to me as people think it is. I'm just all about like growing and just like maximizing his potential. So I thought that was a cool piece to just get some of his mindset before you dive in.
Yeah. All right, now we're gonna dive in. Starts off with part one, the emotional ingredients. Starting off with gratitude. I do want to actually see what did you guys actually write down your answer
Yeah.
in here?
I wrote mine down.
So if you guys are wondering, it starts off on gratitude. It says, if there was a list that ranked everyone on Earth in terms of overall success and happiness, 1 to 7.7 billion, where do you think you'd rank? Write down your answer here. So what did you guys write down?
This is okay.
Yeah, you go
I'm gonna
first.
give my
You go
answer,
first.
and then
It
I'll
probably needs
explain
some
afterwards.
Mine needs some explanation.
Yeah, I
explanation
put
too.
1 out of 7.7 billion.
You put 1?
I put 7, bro. I mean 1 out of 7.7 billion. Yes, bro. Because I mean, the way I'm looking at, okay, overall success and happiness.
Right.
When I hear that and I read that, I interpret it as, what do you think you're doing? Like,
Right, internally.
Exactly.
Right.
So that's how I went about it. That's why I said 1, because it's
Gotcha.
like, bro, I feel
I like
feel
that.
good.
You're happy.
Yeah, for
Happy
sure.
where you're at. You feel good.
Yeah.
All right, so I didn't do because then I kept reading. So I was reading the thing at first. I was honestly just trying to. I had done some highlighting in the introduction. I was trying to get started with the chapter. So I read it. It says, "Where do you think you rank out of 7.7 billion?" Real fast, I write down. I'm like, I want to know for sure I'm in the upper quartile, but so I put 2 billion range. And then I kept reading, and it says, 785 million people lack basic drinking water, and I was like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to bump my number up.
Yeah.
So I just did the fractions a little more, like 200 million range, just so like 200 million out
Yeah.
of 800 million. Like I'm in that section where
Right.
I know
Yeah.
like I'm very
Yeah.
aware and
Yeah.
happy
Yeah.
and grateful, but I also like
It's so funny because
wanna
I put
keep
I
going.
put 2 billion as well.
Really?
Yeah, I was like,
you put 2
I put 2
billion.
billion. I put 2 billion.
Wow.
Yeah, because I was thinking, I was like, all right, yeah, I know, like, there's a lot of people that don't even have electricity.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what, like, definitely we're in the upper, somewhere around there.
But I will say, whatever my number was, it said write down an exact number.
Yes.
I think it said write down your exact number. My number would be higher from the first time I read this book, from whenever I started reading this
Oh,
book.
for sure.
So that's what I'm saying.
For
Like,
sure.
like if just
Yeah,
already
the
measuring,
sentence
if I
after
was,
it,
if
you're
I
like,
was,
okay, I'm like in almost
I'm
at the top.
50, I'm 50
That's what
people,
I'm
I'm
saying.
100 people. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, especially with the breakdown afterwards, bro. The numbers that he's given
Yeah.
out afterwards is like,
Yeah.
Bro,
What is
that's
it?
insane.
785 million people lack basic drinking water.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yep.
10% of the world's population.
dude, I'm a killer for perspective, bro. I'm
Yeah.
all about things that can help keep stuff in perspective, because you just feel so much more balanced.
Yeah.
yes.
You just feel so much more balanced.
Yeah. Do you have a proper toilet at home? Around 60% of the world, 4.5 billion of them don't even have a toilet properly that manages human waste. Like
Yeah.
you
That's
tell-
so crazy.
over half the world population doesn't have a working toilet.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
come again?
People are still digging holes and
Like what does that even mean?
yeah, bro.
We don't got it as bad as we like to think,
Yeah.
I
But
guess.
it's interesting. See, this is a whole another
It's all
conversation.
relative, though. It's all
Exactly.
relative.
Yeah,
bro.
it's
I'm
all
with you.
yeah,
It's all
it is.
relative.
It is.
It is, but it
perspective because
isn't.
we were born here.
It is, but it isn't.
Yeah.
It is like depending on where you're at.
Well, you don't
I
know
think
that.
sometimes it is, and sometimes
Yeah,
it isn't.
you don't know that you've all three of us have grown up with a working toilet.
Yeah.
You know.
Yes.
So
yes.
it's like you don't have that perspective. So
Yes.
then that is your zero.
yeah, that's
having
your
a
baseline.
toilet.
Yeah. No, it's interesting because I
You
think
can
about
get
that too.
but as you get older, you can take steps back from that.
Very true.
Yeah, you can
Very
get like
true.
now your new baseline is I've always had a job and now I don't have a job, so
Oh,
like you know what
I
I'm
see,
saying,
I
like
see, I
you
see,
now
I
your
see.
new low, like you can take steps back. You can start with having a working toilet, but there you may get to a point where if you're homeless,
Yeah.
now that's your new
True.
baseline. I don't know.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
that even
No,
But
because-
when you're getting raised,
to a certain
obviously
Yeah.
depending on your choices and stuff, you can go up and down.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's what I thought. Just like you were born, you never realize that like having a working toilet is actually a
Bro,
luxury.
it's important. Like,
Yeah. Like
'cause
what?
I always think about how my mom came over here when she was 27 years old. No, 28. She came over from the Philippines and she had to like start from zero. And that just in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm already ahead of the curve because
Yeah.
I didn't have to start from zero.
Yeah.
So
every kid should be theoretically. If you have a kid,
yeah,
if not in every scenario, but like more often than not, yeah, if you're actively having a child, then you're hopefully
in a pretty solid
in a
position.
spot to do it. I don't.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe that actually doesn't work. I don't know.
Most of the time.
Most of the time.
I don't know.
If
You,
you- if
that's
you're-
what you would hope for.
yeah.
That's what you would hope
exactly.
Yeah. If you're a caring parent, I
Yes.
think
If you're
you
choosing
want
to
the
have
best.
a kid, actually, yeah, let's change
There
that
we
up. If
go.
you're choosing to have a kid, there it was.
You want the best for your
I was
kid.
like, why is this? Because nah, but that's
It's not ringing the bell, but yeah, I thought that was just
it was
crazy.
it was a
It's crazy
good it was a good way to
perspective.
enter into a book.
And that's like all Gary Vee's saying is like about perspective and stuff. Like you know,
yes, bro.
where it's just like, you know, like that dude on the comment that made a bad comment about you, like he's hurting more than you think.
Mhm.
Yeah. yeah.
Which is a fact.
But
Yeah.
did you guys have anything else on 4? Because I have something on 5. I wanted to read the little paragraph.
I already know what you got on 5, so go ahead.
You think so?
Yeah.
Are we just on 2 billion?
Anybody who owns a business.
Nope.
All right, let's go, baby. Let's go. We both got something on 5. This
You
is the
did?
first time. Go ahead.
I have it right above yours.
Oh, do you?
People don't
That's
understand
funny.
the reality of what's happening in the world because their communities are so insular. Many people look at millions of dollars as an entry point of success. Many 20-somethings are trying to make it before 30. When you're living in Los Angeles apartment or a house in Greenwich, Connecticut, it's tough to wrap your head around the fact that women in Africa collectively spend 200 million hours a day collecting water. People look upward at those who rank higher, but they don't look downward at the billions rank lower.
Crazy.
I was like,
So
like-
crazy.
wow.
That's what it is. It's that whole phenomenon of, man, I really want this, I want this, and then you get it, and then you want what's
Yeah.
next. It's like, it's annoying how true it is.
Yeah.
Because, like, I've even been in some, like, all I want is this shoe or this, whatever. and it's like always just another thing.
Yeah.
It's always another thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a whole. That's like the materialistic. Like that's not actually what you wanted the entire time.
Yep.
You can want, yeah. I mean, you just gotta be able to reframe it, because if it's what you're looking for to like make you happy, like it can be something that you want, but it can't be something that's like gonna last or whatever. Like especially if it's just something material like that. But
Yeah.
I think
crazy.
there's the whole phenomenon with that.
So all right, what do
And
you
then
got, twin?
I had the line that came a couple centimeters underneath it. Anybody who owns a business in a first world nation is already living an extraordinary life. I don't think most entrepreneurs realize how blessed they are, even if it's a grind, even if it's hard, even if there are bad days. So it's like that's the whole perspective, is like you can get bogged down in the mundane, but someone's mundane is worse than yours.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Like
goodness.
someone's in the sewers cleaning them out, someone's doing like depending on where you're at, like because if you're gonna choose, like if we're entrepreneurs, that has a baseline of, since we're talking about that, of that you're probably working at the job you want to do. Otherwise, go work for anyone.
Right.
So if you're an entrepreneur, you're somewhat doing what you want to do. So if you can't keep it in perspective to like love your mundane, it's almost like ultra entitlement,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
ultra
It's like
spoiled.
you
Like
chose
you chose
this.
to do this,
Right.
and you're gonna complain and cry
Yeah.
about it. Like don't like you don't gotta beat yourself up,
Yeah.
but sometimes you may need to, just for a second, like just as like a little shock factor.
Yeah. Like yeah. I totally agree. But
for
moving
sure.
on. Anything else you guys have on before? I had something on 8.
I had I mean, just this part on page 6 where he's talking about how the difference in life expectancy over the years, like people were doing stuff so quick. So it says even in 1930 people died at 58. By age 30 their lives were already more than half over. So it's like he's saying this to tell us, like, nowadays people are living to 80, 90, even 100 years old, and we're just sitting over here stressed in our 20s, like, bro, I haven't even made my $1 million yet, when in reality it's like you
a long
have
game.
all this time of your lifespan to be able to make this stuff happen. So like you don't need to stress about it, like it's
Sure.
okay.
Bro, and like deadlines can be daunting.
Yes.
Like if you start putting mental deadlines on yourself, like, I gotta have this much money in my bank account by this time. That's never a bad thing, but it's always so like the happiest humans are able to juggle it all, to
Yeah.
understand that like I want this much money, but if it doesn't happen, it's okay. I'm just gonna do this.
Yeah.
But I need to be able, but I also need to make sure I'm trying to make it. But I also need to like whatever that kind of. It's not even tug of war. It's just like back and forth.
Yeah.
It's just like
balance.
being okay living
Yeah.
in that space. If you can
Yeah,
get to
bro.
that, that's a.
I
But that's a
mean,
good
he ta-
perspective. Is a lot of how this book starts.
Yeah.
he definitely talks about that later in the book, like the whole putting deadlines and stuff, but that'll
Oh,
be
yeah.
for next
Oh, is that later?
yeah, this
Oh,
was
okay.
like, yeah, I read ahead a little bit, so
Dang it,
Look at him showing
Miguel.
out with the glasses
He
on.
is.
He's still got glasses
sorry guys, sorry.
Read late. Yeah, he read so much he forgot his book.
on. He knows the book by memory.
But yeah, I
I-
had something on 8, but
Go ahead. I got one on 9.
you do. Yeah. Mine's at the bottom of 8. It says, if I wake up in the morning and nobody I loved passed away or come down with a terminal illness, then my day starts off great. If people closest to me are okay, I'm good. I won. Nothing else can truly faze me beyond that. And it's like at the end of the day, it's like
That's all you
facts.
can ask for.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
I mean, it's
I truly feel that way, and my
hard though.
my
You
next
lose
comment
that.
was the next one. It
Yeah.
literally says, if you're truly grateful for what you have instead of being envious of what you don't have, you'll be a dominant force in business and way more important in life. I wrote down like it's a tougher concept for first world people. Like it's just a tougher
Oh, yeah.
concept to like be able to, because it also determines like on what you kind of place all, like not all of your value but more of your value on. Like are you more family, like people that don't have family lives
Mhm.
is like in a weird way, it's like if I was a business owner, I would want, and I like say I was running a team, if I could choose it, if I could have it my way, my head coach is single and all of my players are single. Just be in the gym. Whenever you're
right.
dealing with family stuff, whenever you're dealing with girlfriends, with parents, with whatever, you got all this
It's
other
a
stuff
lot,
that you don't
bro.
think about. But like
Yeah.
whenever you're dealing with like people that it's just so different, I feel like.
That's it.
It's just
That's
unique how
interesting,
different. You know what I'm saying?
Like I understand that, because then when you're you
more
don't have it.
dedicated. Like, have
Yeah,
you
you
ever
don't
been
have your
dealing with something and not
responsibilities.
just wanted to work quite as hard?
Yep.
Or like they make the same example with Aaron Rodgers getting slighted. Every year he's been comfortable, he's okay. Every year he gets pissed off, he goes crazy.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
that's you don't want to have those types of people, but like those scenarios, you don't even realize how much that can dictate production.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting to think about.
Moving on. Wow, that was a big
Beefy.
first. That was a
Yeesh.
big section. It was literally only what, like 8 pages, but man, we broke that thing down. That was a gratitude. Moving on. Self-awareness is next. Anyone got anything? I got something on 13.
I also thought one thing that that he talked about for the book is like my half is kind candor, but that's not everyone's half. So he's like, what ones are your halves and stuff like that, and just kind of keep a pulse on that. So I mean, not self-awareness isn't my one for that, but it was just something I wanted to think about since we're doing all 12 traits.
Yeah.
He talked about like what are your half traits? What are your traits to be working on?
Right.
It's just something that just sparked up into my memory again. But this was a really good one. I think there's obviously a lot that can be gained from learning more about self-awareness and stuff like that because
It's so important.
a lot
bro.
of people lack it, man.
Yeah. Self-awareness is just, it's so key.
Yeah. It's tough. It's
Yeah,
the same.
bro.
It's
It is. Because
Yeah.
you're in it. Like, you yourself are in it, and you
Yeah.
just don't understand
yeah. You
what
have
you're
to
doing.
step
with it.
away from yourself.
Yeah.
Like what?
Like, what did I just do? What did I say?
Yeah.
How did I just do
that
that?
affect?
Yeah.
But I had something on 13, and it was short, but it said, "What I care about is bringing value to every single person I interact with." And I was like, "That's a great like thing to just work on every day."
Yep.
It's like no matter what, it's like just provide the tiniest amount of value. If that's just sitting there having them listen, or you listen to them, or like I just
That's how I feel a lot of the times too, though. I think that's just such an important thing because that, like, then you show like your genuine, like, true connection to somebody. It's like, okay, I'm gonna take this time and I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna help you become better. Whether, like you said, if even if you're just listening to somebody, because I feel like that's a lot of it. Most of the time is somebody just needs to vent and they just need somebody to listen.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
No doubt.
yeah,
But that's what
always,
I have.
I always feel
It was
that.
short.
It was a
only
short
a couple,
chapter.
It
couple
was.
pages.
Yeah.
I only had one highlight. It was actually on 12. It says, I'm realizing right now that it's one thing to be self-aware. It's another thing to look in the mirror and say, hey, you're not good at X. That doesn't mean you're telling yourself that you're a piece of shit.
That's
I
okay.
don't know if we're supposed to. But
You're
it
good.
just means
It's in the book.
acknowledging
Yeah,
a
it
weakness.
is.
And security often leads to avoidance, and people tend to be the most avoidant with their own flaws.
Yeah.
So that one last line was something that of the things that struck me was like, yeah, that's something to keep on your radar. Like,
Yeah.
insecurity, like if you avoid all that stuff, if you avoid your flaws, like that's taking the easy way out, and I don't like that necessarily.
Yeah.
No, it is, bro. Because, I mean, one thing that I've learned, especially through my own relationship, is I wouldn't fix stuff. Like, I would just let it, I would be like, okay, like, I would hear it from my fiance, and I would just be like, okay, I heard you. I get it. I'm going to try next time. But it was never like an actual, like, let me fix the problem. Like, what do I need to do differently? So I think, and that's just the easy way out.
It
Because
takes a big man to want to do that.
Yeah,
to
bro.
wanna fix stuff, dude.
Because when you're single, like, if you mess up and you're just like dating somebody, it's like, okay, cool, like,
See ya.
yeah, exactly. Like,
I
it
don't need
doesn't really
this.
matter. Like,
Yeah.
if I don't feel like doing it, I'm not gonna do it, and that's how it was for the most part. But I'm gonna keep this short. But like, one thing about having a relationship is that person will keep you accountable if they truly care about you.
Yeah.
So
And
true.
it takes legitimate effort too. One of my favorite things that one of our a comedian that we used to watch back in college, John Mulaney, he says just to keep it in, you don't have to change. Like that's I think the hardest part for me, kind of in that same boat to carry off that is like it's a lot easier to not change. Like it's just he opens up his show that he's doing. He's like thank you guys for coming out and all that stuff. It's amazing you came. It's amazing that we do anything. It's so much easier to just do nothing at all.
Yeah.
Like it's easier to just stay at home. And like I'm so glad you guys came out here. It's way easier to just not do anything. So like it just a second of like a weird appreciation. Like it's easier to not do anything. It's
Right.
easier to not change.
Yep.
So if you are gonna take the effort to change, then like you gotta.
It's a good step forward.
It's a good step.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think on a build up on that, I think I saw a clip on Jason Tatum saying like putting in the effort when it was like he needs an off day or something like that.
Yeah,
And
I
he's
was
like,
talking about the Hornets. He's
yeah,
like, just because we're playing Charlotte on a Tuesday night doesn't mean I'm not going to play hard
yeah.
because
It's
the,
like the
the
greats
best
do.
of the best
Yeah.
play and someone's here to watch me play. It was a cool Kobe mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah,
type
bro.
thing.
But moving on, accountability.
Yes.
The fact or condition of being accountable, responsibility. Anyone have anything in here?
Straight on to 18, I had when you blame others, you're admitting to yourself that you're no longer in control. You give leverage to the persons you're pointing your finger at, and you become a victim of the situation you're in. Instead of pointing a finger, consider pointing a thumb back at yourself. And this has been like one of the ones, like accountability. I don't know if it's my half, but I'm going to say it's like a half.
So far, it's a half.
Just
Yeah.
because
Right.
I want it to be. Like,
Yeah.
I just want to get better at it.
Oh, okay.
No,
I was
like I want
I
it to
want
be
my weakness to be.
No, it's not that. No, it's not that. Don't. But it's just like the first. You always try and take something and run with it. But it's just something that I clearly like. I just think it's important.
Yeah.
I think it's important because I see being someone who isn't amazing at it. I see how bad other people are at it too, and that's just like I feel like there's not a ton of people. Some of the people I respect the most are very accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're just very you wouldn't I wouldn't describe them like if I was describing them I'd call them like friend whatever. You don't think of accountability of how big of like a trait it can be in determining like how a person lives. You know, I feel like if you're an accountable person and stuff and you really treat all your small things. Like it's one thing to be accountable if you mess up something massive. Sometimes you have to take accountability for that. But if you really dive into it, there's a million different places where you could choose to not be accountable in a like small spot just on a daily basis that wouldn't affect your grand scheme. But if you're trying to grow, it says when you blame others, you're admitting that you're no longer in control. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, you give them
you
the
had
power.
something to do with it somehow, some way, and giving it like that's what I like giving any power mentally to someone else. Like then you relinquish control. Like then it's all at their hands.
Yeah,
you have a choice
I thought it was a cool perspective on accountability. How they bring it up that way.
for sure.
You got anything, Miguel?
Oh no, I don't think
wasn't
I have
even that
anything
long
for
of a
this.
chapter.
Yeah,
Man, I
this
feel
one
like
was
all of
pretty
these
short.
things are just like
Yeah,
just
these are
gold
fairly
mines and
short.
they're gold nuggets and they're 3 pages or
Yeah.
something.
That's right. And then but at the end it tells you like we said, it's like part 1, part
Yeah.
2, part 3. It's like
Yeah.
you learn the stuff and then I'm assuming do more
Yeah,
of the
he keeps it
application stuff.
keeps it quick.
Yeah.
He does.
You know, it's not
It's
like
smart.
drawing out.
It's good though. I feel like it's helping like keep your attention, especially as I was reading it. It's like, okay, cool, like on to the next one.
Yeah.
Great.
Speaking of on to the next, optimism, hopelessness, and confidence about the future or successful outcome of something. Anyone got anything?
I thought the story that he was telling at the beginning was pretty cool though. Saying on December 13th, 2020, I posted an Instagram video of a deer skipping across a beach. I gave it this title: All I want is for you to be as happy as this baby deer. That is all. Someone left a comment on the post saying, "Till that lion comes." I responded, "And then he will get smart and avoid the lion too." Oh, and avoid the lion. Too many are scared of the thought of the lion without realizing you're capable of navigating it. F the lion. I'm not. Yeah, that's just
No,
it's too hard
nah.
of a word.
It's aggressive.
It is.
And you got to be up in it.
Yeah, you got to like really.
No, you played that right.
No,
I
but
like that story too.
yeah, it's just crazy because like another thing is people, especially in my lifetime, like I think that people think me being kind and always just so like honest and nice to people, they just feel like, oh, like yeah, it's easy to take advantage of this person. And I mean, early on it was like, especially early on in my business life, I was just doing so much stuff for people, and it's like, all right, at some point I need to cut it off because one, most of it was free work at that point. So it's like I can't just keep killing myself with free work and just not getting anything out of it, especially if it's been months of free work. So um I think that this whole analogy, being able to navigate it and get away from that type of stuff is it's good, but it also embodies the idea that when you see like a what is it? Did he say a deer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, baby deer.
Yeah, when you see a deer, it's like, oh, this is so nice. Like, what a cute thing. But at the end of the day, you still have to like navigate, survive, and do what you have to do. So I don't know. I kind of just connected with that for some reason in that way. Just like I know how to navigate stuff, but I may come off as like somebody who's not gonna do anything crazy to you, but I mean that goes back to our
You have
48
an edge.
laws.
You have an
Yeah,
edge though.
that's the 48 laws right
Yeah.
there. Just be unpredictable with it. But yeah.
No, I like optimism a lot. Like I'm actually on like a crazy, just with some stuff that I've had to deal with outside of work, like on a crazy optimism kick right now.
hmm
Just because I'm trying to stay in that, because I have a
Bro.
highlight down at the bottom of it. It says choosing optimism over pessimism is at the end of the day wildly practical. It doesn't mean you're being naive or blind to the downsides in business or in life. It's honestly like I've started to realize that. I think this is the highlight that like changed my last week, uh, where it's not being naive. It's not being any of those things. It's more so just understanding like you could have something incredibly terrible happen, and every moment that you spend thinking about it doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think about. Like I know, and we're humans, so we have certain things that are obviously going to do it. But like, if you can distract yourself, if you can find a way to be like there have been so many things that have bothered me that I've just haven't let bother me for
Yeah.
this past week, and it's just been different. And it's been one of the harder weeks that I've had to go through outside of stuff, outside of work and stuff like that, just personally. And I haven't felt that. I
Yeah.
haven't
Yeah,
felt much of
bro.
it. I was like, I'm protecting myself. I'm protecting myself from feeling it just because you can choose to understand that that's not necessarily the way that it has to be. I mean, and then something terrible happens, and then you really put yourself to the test. Like, but
Yeah.
I just thought it was that was a
And
really
it's
heavy
funny
line.
because I'm on the same thing. Like, bro, I didn't get to tell you the other day, but like our car broke down, and like it's like the car breaks down, and I mean you guys know a lot of the stuff I have going on top of that, but it's like I have to do that, I have to deal with that, have to deal with all these other things, and it's like I could choose to be like, oh man, like this really sucks, but I was telling Chase like when it happened, like I just laughed at it. Cause it's like, what else? Like, of course, it's gonna happen. Like, something's gonna happen, but you're either gonna choose to be like, oh gosh, this sucks. I can't do anything. I don't want to do anything. Which goes back to our last book, the resistance aspect of it. It's like, yes, this is difficult. It sucks, but this is just resistance. Like, that's all it is. So when you choose to think that way, then you understand and you can like trick your brain to just being like, okay, like this is just what it is. You can just keep going. There's nothing wrong with just keep moving forward.
Yeah, and like for me, just to kind of put a button on this, like to wrap it up. Right now, we're going over like all these 12 different like gratitude, self awareness, empathy, tenacity, all these different realms of like traits that you can possess. But I feel like as we've been reading these books, like I read them I read them all with care. I don't give more care to one book or the other. But it just seems like the further we go along, like it seems like all my attributes are like rising slightly to where like I didn't notice it. Like whenever I think you guys know, but like my car was in the shop twice this month,
hmm
and it was like freaking the most I've spent on a car in forever at a really really bad timing.
Yeah.
But like, and in the middle of that, like I felt it. Like I didn't feel like I was calm, like I was getting flustered and all this stuff. But I read this book after I got the car back, and since then I'm like I feel like I would have handled that differently. Like I feel like even internally I wouldn't have been so rattled, or I wouldn't have been so at least bothered by it for that entire night, or for that entire night till the next morning. I may have just been like, and then just been
That
able to
was it.
clear it or
Yep.
whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like I feel like even just dating back to thinking about how you could have handled things better, that's how I know I definitely
Yeah.
am trending.
Bro,
somewhere.
reading books is this is why we started.
Yeah,
Like
It must
it is
bro,
be.
it's just so
crazy.
good for you.
It's
Like
so crazy.
even those small reminders like that.
Yeah.
So
It's yeah. I don't know why we haven't started this earlier. You know, like
yeah, yeah.
can you imagine just the amount of things that the amount of books we could be like
Hey, I'm
could
just
have
glad we
read.
didn't start it later.
Yeah,
Very true.
exactly,
There you
bro.
go. Hey, that's optimism.
Yeah,
A
there you
little bit
go.
of optimism
There
there.
you go.
But I wanted
Fresh
to
off the
summarize.
chapter, don't give me
I
too
w-
much credit.
I wanted to summarize basically what Landon was saying, which it was so funny because you were talking all about that, and I read a little ahead, and he literally Gary Vee summarizes it all for you. Is optimism is being thrilled that your next at bat, while not optimism is being thrilled about your next at bat while acknowledging that you're not guaranteed a hit home run. I was like, That's like it's just so
Because
so
it's the same
perfect.
thing. Like whenever you did do something wrong, what did it say? It's, don't compound it. Don't
Yeah,
make one mistake
flush it.
into two. You got
Yeah,
to be able to flush it. If you give up a home run and you don't flush it, you're about to give up a double in the gap.
yeah.
If you strike out
Spirals.
and you don't flush it, you're
Yeah,
about to go make an error in the field. Like it's all kind of connected. Our brains are connected. It's not like we can compartmentalize, but we can't necessarily like dissociate all the time.
yeah,
Like that's the best compartmentalizers are the best compartmentalizers. It's crazy
yeah,
because we're humans. Like if something happens, it's supposed to affect the other thing. So
yeah, yeah. Speaking of feelings and stuff like that, next section is empathy.
You're on a
the
roll with that,
transition, I
bro.
love that.
He's been doing
Speaking of
so great
feelings,
with
I
that.
love it.
Yeah.
Right?
I love
The
it.
ability to understand and share feelings to or feelings of another.
I think just on the definition alone, empathy is such a big thing. I mean, for myself, I think that just having that trait and being able to just relate with other humans is like another deep form of connection. And like I always say, bro, like connection is such an important thing, especially genuine connection, and especially in the business world. Because if you don't have it, then so many things can go wrong, bro.
Yeah.
But empathy's it's very important.
I think. I also think empathy is just like you can either some people are like very empathetic. It's almost like a trait that they possess because it's he has it on his list of traits. But like some people are just more in tune with it. Some people I feel like you almost have to be able to go through something to be able to develop that empathy. Like I know that at previous jobs that I've had, I'd be, you start off in the bottom, like say I was used to work at Papa John's, I was just a delivery driver. And then you start making the pizzas, and then I became the assistant manager. And so like I would understand like there's bickering everywhere. So whenever you become the assistant manager, you got whenever you're the driver's mad about the people not getting the stuff in time. It affects their stuff.
Right.
Everyone bickers. And if you haven't been there before, as the manager, you're just up top like figure it out. You ever had to just figure it out?
Yeah.
It's up to you guys. We have a UPS driver. He always just tells them figure it out. If you haven't been a delivery driver and understand some of the actual complications, if you can't relate to that, then there's always gonna like that's the most frustrating thing. It's like this isn't gonna work. No, just do that. That's not gonna work
Right.
because of this. Oh, just like if you don't actually know, if you haven't been there or something, that's tough.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I wanted to combine empathy with one of the previous ones. Where at what point do you guys give yourself empathy towards yourself for self-awareness?
Hmm, that's a really good question.
You know?
That's a really good one.
I feel like it's a slippery slope, and this is where like I think it just it's like a third person thinking like I have to trust myself, like it's okay, like what my actions were here was because of this,
If you
and
can reason it,
give
if you can
yourself
reason it,
right, but
don't do anything you can't reason.
at what point do you manage it where it's like, all right, I got to be accountable for it,
Yeah.
not give myself,
Yeah.
not be empathetic to my actions.
I think
I don't know if you guys have
It
like
depends
an
on what kind
example.
of what
Yeah.
kind of strings you're having to pull. Like I don't.
I think that's like a really tough thing to figure out.
I would say if it's something that I really just can't control at all, like if it's something just that I just can't do anything about it, you have to give yourself empathy.
Yeah.
Because
Give
if
yourself
it's
a break.
something that you can control, then like you're just not being accountable. I mean that's just the
That's
way.
a good rule.
Yeah,
I like that
bro.
rule.
I don't
It's hard though.
it's,
I mean,
yeah, I mean, my whole thing is that
Right.
like it depends on the situation and the
Yeah.
person and like what it's about. Like, yeah, I mean, but it's an interesting thing to think about.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
Self empathy.
Self empathy and versus self accountability, but also being self aware on both.
It's a balance. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But that's where you talk about. That's
Yeah.
why the thing is, I feel like 0.1% of the world is balanced in that, and we admire him so greatly and deeply, and they're in the highest positions everywhere, and the rest of us are trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Like we're like some of
for
us
sure.
balance it, some of us are a little too aggressive, some of us are a little too passive,
Yeah.
some of us are like,
Yeah,
and then
give
you
yourself
got
too
and then
many
you got your
breaks,
good,
yeah,
I
or
don't know,
too hard
yeah.
on yourself.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it honestly maybe depends on how you slept. It might depend on how you slept that night, or it might depend on so many factors,
Yeah.
bro. So many factors.
Yeah, I was just wondering because, like, you know, if everything's out of balance, like, where's the tipping point
Right.
for you guys?
Yeah,
But
that would be mine. Just if
I
I
like
can
that rule.
control it, I'm gonna do something about it. If I can't, then you just have to live with it and let it go.
There you go. Is there anything else in empathy that you guys got?
I feel like this is the same story we said, but he used the example of when you're empathetic, you recognize why people behave the way they do. Why do you think I react with compassion for those who leave hateful comments on content? We haven't done this, right?
No,
We haven't said that
we
one
talked
specifically, but
about
it's like the same type of thing. He
Yeah,
says,
I think I
not
brought
with
it
anger,
up. Yeah.
frustration. You know, it's somebody's first time coming to my account, consuming it, leaving a negative comment, saying I suck. Then that's a reflection on them. They are in enough pain to want to drag me down to their emotional level. Like that's the way I've looked at it, and honestly, like I've been able to experience it.
Yeah.
I've been able to directly experience it.
Yeah.
Like
you've-
I'll just like so I
Well, I
used
mean-
to early on.
Yeah.
I would engage in it, and it was. I'm not like a hateful person, so it used to just be for banter for me, like just back and forth
just
or
feeding.
whatever.
Yeah.
Just feed it, like because I can, like it.
Yeah,
It doesn't mess
entertained
with
you.
me too much. Yeah, it's where I can just do it. But now it's to the point where it's like I'll just be like, hey, your opinions suck, and I'll be like. I'm like, it's all good if you feel that way. We don't not. There's
Yeah.
other people out there just finding
Yeah.
their opinions. Like,
Yeah,
no,
all love.
actually, man, sorry, just playing. Like, you're one of my favorite reviewers. It's like, if you were, so if I can trick myself into thinking every hateful comment's a supporter and every supportive comment's a supporter, and now I'm winning.
Right.
Everyone loves me.
Yeah.
No, like whether it's true or not, just I
Right.
may as well live there.
Yeah.
That was a weird situation though, bro. Like it's
But it happens. But that's
Yeah.
I've sent it to you, but that's
Yeah.
happened like too many times for it to just be. It's just the way it is. It's like a.
people want to be loved. People want to be contacted through the social media stuff. They just want to be connected
Do
to
me
you.
too, man.
That's
if
all
I
it
could,
is.
If I could leave a hateful comment, on Steph Curry's timeline to get him to interact with me, I would do it just because I don't know how else I'm gonna get in touch with him. So if he would be able to acknowledge because on the inside it's all love. He doesn't realize that I'm gonna rep his jersey and stay up until 2 a.m. every night to watch his games.
Right.
But for him, he's just like, this dude's being hateful or whatever. It's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
no, bro,
Yeah.
I just want your attention. I don't react that way, but I feel like people would.
Oh, I think
people
yeah,
do,
I think
anyways.
people react that way, not even online, but just offline. You know,
Yeah.
people act out just to get attention and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
That's a big thing with kids.
Yeah,
Social
bro.
media, man. Now that you can like go viral first, going viral may be the worst thing that's ever happened to humanity.
No,
Being
seriously.
able to go viral for blowing up a school, for like doing something crazy, just be the ability to go viral for taking a life, for doing a dare, for doing
Yeah.
like the ability to go viral has like ruined.
Yeah, the extent of it is. I mean,
There's
you
no
were
end.
just like you're just naming off
I
a
was
couple
naming-
things.
I was naming the extensive ones
Yeah.
because they're happening. Like it's crazy. Bro.
Yeah.
It's-
Well, I think we all just need a little bit of more kindness, you know, instead of being hateful. Speaking of kindness, that is our next section. The quality of being friendly, generous, and considerate.
That was forced. That was a forced
That was-
transition.
It wasn't as
It's okay.
good.
It's all right. You
Was
can't get them all.
alright.
There's been a bunch today.
yeah.
But yeah. But moving on. Anyone got anything on kindness?
What do we got? Actually, I don't have any highlights from this chapter. It
Me-
was.
I
I mean,
didn't
they were
either.
all like a couple of pages. So some of them I wanted to really. At a certain point, I was like, I'm gonna make sure I'm just highlighting the ones that stick out the most to me.
Right. Yeah, that's what I started doing. Like I was like really hitting it hard in the beginning portion, and then I was like, these are good,
Like
but
I'm,
like I'm
I'm so in tune with being kind to people that kindness wasn't one that really
Yeah,
was
luckily-
like, oh, I didn't think about
right.
that.
Yeah.
I think
Same.
I'm all
luckily
for
I don't
kind
think
to
all three of us
everyone.
would be here if we weren't kind to each other,
bro.
let alone
It's a-
others.
It's such an important trait to have.
Yeah.
It really is.
No doubt.
Oh man, if you guys could see the behind the scenes, right?
Oh man, we got-
Goodness gracious.
come here, little sausage. You coming? Come on up. Nope.
Oh,
No
Nope,
toy up
nope.
here.
All
right,
right.
buddy,
all
you're-
right.
It's okay.
Moving on then, we got tenacity, the quality or fact of being very determined or determination. Anything on here?
That's a great word.
Tenacity.
It
Mhm.
is.
It's a great word. What do you? I was about to say, what do you got? What do you got besides some glasses on?
Nah,
All right.
I was just
What you got?
I was thinking about like this part on page 40 at the bottom when he was talking about how like one of his old classmates pulled up on him and he was still working at the liquor store, and I mean, he goes on to explain like how it's just not a big deal that that happened, but if he didn't have his like if he didn't have that tenacity to just realize like that's such a small thing that just happened, like I have such big plans for myself and I know I'm going to accomplish them, then small stuff like that would affect anybody whose mind is just not prepared to handle that type of situation. So that's another, once again, another important thing. There's so many different ingredients to being like a great professional
Yeah.
that you have to like truly embody. And if you don't, like some things you can get away with every now and then, but for the most part, there's just so many core things. Like even with this, the tenacity thing, like if you don't believe in yourself enough and you don't trust in what you're doing enough, it's just not going to work out,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
And giving yourself enough time to actually do it.
Exactly.
That's see it through. I think is a lot of it when it comes to tenacity.
I had a little bit from the paragraph above that one. It says the reason that this commonly leads to burnout, whenever he's talking about tenacity, is such people are. Where did this go? Such people are almost always trying to achieve those things for the approval of others and not for themselves. When you've put yourself in a position to base your happiness on outside validation and on material proxies of success, you will always, and I mean always, be on the cusp of burnout. I think that just goes to I've kind of highlights basically all the stuff that I've been touching on today, but just not letting other people have control over your happiness. Like,
Yeah.
if you can be tenacious, like the tenacity is about determination. Like, if you're determined, like to just go out and do your best, not actively try to piss people off. People do that. If you're not actively trying to piss people off, get in the way, take breaks or whatever. Like you're just trying to go out and do your best from the second you wake up or whatever, then that should be your ticker. Like that's what's making you tick on the inside. It's just going out and doing your best. That'll allow you to not, if things go wrong, when things go wrong, right?
Yeah.
To hark back to the resistance to start off our last book.
Yeah.
Like whenever things go wrong, then you can just at least look at it like I'm just giving my best, understanding that was going to go wrong no matter what.
Yeah.
Like I'm giving my best out here, so I mean that was just going to go wrong, I guess.
There you go. Wise words.
Not my words. I probably took them from someone else.
Well, good things to take, I guess. But yeah, yep. Another good section, tenacity. Moving on though.
I like this.
Curiosity.
Yeah, this curiosity one was
I'm
good.
curious.
A
I'm real
strong
curious
desire
about chasing this
to
question.
know or learn something.
I'm real curious how you thought about this chapter, because he starts off with I'm struggling to write this section right now because of how excited I'm feeling about NFTs.
Mm.
And he just goes NFT, NFT,
Yeah.
NFT, NFT throughout this whole section.
Yeah.
I wondered kind of what you thought about all this in hindsight, because he looks at NFTs. He basically framed, I don't remember where it was, but he was saying like he thinks NFTs are as big as social media or the internet.
Yeah.
He was basically likening it to the internet and just like diving all the way in on that. I wondered what you thought.
I don't know. When it comes to NFTs, if doesn't know what NFT is, it's a non-fungible token.
Non-fungible token.
Basically, what it means is it's like a trading card, but there's only a certain limited, and it will last forever and ever unless you destroy them.
Yeah.
So they're always in perfect condition, and depending on what these NFTs can do, they're based off cryptocurrency. So
Don't forget the serial numbers. Some of them, that's what adds that value
No.
to
yeah,
it.
some of them are
But I was
unique
more so
enough.
just thinking, what do you think about the state of crypto? Because he wrote
Yeah, yeah.
once you write a book, you write it. That's
Yeah.
the thing. Like NFTs could be the hottest thing out right now still,
Right.
and he'd be blazing.
Right.
So I'm with Staples going to crypto, and then they exited. So crypto's off Staples now. It's not even like you remember FTX,
Yeah.
crypto,
Yeah,
all this stuff
yeah.
exploding. It's all literally digressing.
Yeah.
It seems. So I just wanted your two
Right.
cents on it real quick.
Yeah. So I was building out some background context on what NFTs are. What makes NFTs special is not the NFT itself or the technology based on it, but it's what the creators use it for, or whoever built it for. So I think it's just another tool that anyone can use. What's really nice about NFTs is the long lasting ability of it. It's
Mhm.
not like nothing's gonna degrade from it. But a lot of people, the hype of NFTs was that people just started creating these projects or communities around this NFT, but it didn't have a true meaning behind it. Now, what's made Gary Vee successful with his V Friends NFT is he actually is usually using it as a tool, not
Mhm.
as a special project. So it's more of a utility things that connect one another to each other with the V Friends community.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's why his is still successful, even though to this day, because he wrote this in 2020,
Right.
which was the peak of
Yeah.
NFT.
Right, that's what I was saying. Because
Right.
to a degree, it's obviously cooled off. It didn't
Correct.
maybe reach the ceiling of where he thought it was
Right.
going.
So usually, well,
It's still time, but like, I mean, we gotta be honest when we're honest.
so the actually the funny thing about new technologies, it all follows the same pattern. Is there's a crazy hype
Yeah.
up,
Uptick.
yeah, everyone knows about it, gets crazy, falls off. Every single new technology, right? Right now we're going through this AI thing. Everyone's got AI, either AI, you know, every single product you have, YouTube AI, whatever,
Snapchat
video
AI.
editing, yeah.
Mhm.
So they're all gonna, everyone's gonna have a chatbot. Everyone's gonna think it's crazy. Then it's gonna, you know, and then it's gonna fall off, and then slowly it starts getting market adoption,
Yep.
where then it's widespread.
Yeah.
So NFTs, AI, it's all gonna be a part of a thing. Not how you see it right now, though. It's too new.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so yeah, NFTs will be around. It's a great utility to have. Will
I was just
eventually,
thinking,
but
it's just a cool measuring stick too, because
It
this is
is.
where it was at. Like,
yeah,
this is where, and I bet even he's not at this level of it anymore. He probably still loves the ability of it,
yeah,
but he probably like it's cool to see Gary Vee not perfectly predicted.
yeah.
Not perfectly. He's still
He-
using it for himself, but this was supposed to. I mean, he said the internet, and maybe it will be, but obviously he was maybe just too soon on it.
Yeah, I think
too
it's
soon.
definitely he's definitely one of the best people to do it
Mhm.
with his community for sure.
I
Like
still
he
see
did
him
it
doing
right.
V Friends and stuff like that. All,
Yeah,
like,
he's definitely bought into it, and it will be around for a long time because that's the best thing about it is like as long as you provide value with those NFTs, like your
Yeah.
project will succeed.
Yep.
But you're gonna see it at a like super base level where it's
Yeah,
like
that's-
NFTs like are more like digital wallet stuff like ticket sales and stuff like that. There's going to be no more physical tickets.
Yeah,
Everything's
because
digital like that.
we
Stuff
saw
like
it.
that.
It was like some NFTs you were getting it and selling it for a house, and then some NFTs you were getting it and it came down like $400,000 by the time they were able to sell
Oh
it.
my
Like,
goodness.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
like, and I felt like it was within like a month.
Yeah, it was like that was the gold rush. Same
Yeah.
thing
Yeah,
with
bro.
gold rush.
Like the Adidas NFT,
Yep.
Adidas dropping their NFT.
Yeah,
which
everything,
really
a
was-
lot. I mean,
Even,
a lot of stuff like that. But
'Cause
that's the gist of it.
I bought some like Disney NFTs. I forgot what the app was, but it sucks because I lost my password for the app. Yeah, bro, it
No.
sucks. So I mean I think I spent like $100 total on like 3 NFTs, but they were like the rare like Disney ones, and like I looked on the market and they're selling for like 4 or 5 grand right now. I'm
Dang.
like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yep.
I mean,
Wow, you got
because it's like
I
with
need to-
anything,
you're an
we used
actual
to-
success story.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
because we were actually, you notice the same thing, like even with shoes. Whenever you get shoes in, it's like the market floods with it. You get the shoe in. If you get it early, you can sell it for the most. By the time everyone gets their shoes, the market comes way back down. Wait a year, all these other shoes are out. You take that shoe, you pop it back up on the market, and you get it at the high value again
Yeah.
because everyone would have already sold through all their.
That or they've been worn,
Yeah.
and then there's not
Yeah,
many.
either,
There's not
yeah,
many
either,
new.
either or if
you
it's
know?
a shoe, but like
Yeah.
but that's like you see the trends and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that.
So, yeah, to me NFTs is just like another utility tool that we can use. I think it's really cool.
I think I mean, like you said, I feel like the uptrend, the slow uptrend of it, after the crash is gonna be like that's gonna be interesting to see. I mean, we're in it now technically, so like
Yeah.
trying to see how people are gonna sustain it. That's gonna be very interesting.
Yeah.
But like you said, the best way to do it is adding value, because I mean, even with the V Friends things, like the whole thing early was like if you can build that community, people are gonna spend the money. People are gonna go do whatever it is. Like
Yeah.
even with the Bored Ape stuff, it's like if you have one, you're invited to these crazy
Exactly.
parties and exclusive events. So
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
So that's what it is. It's not the NFT itself
Mm-hmm.
provides the value. It's what you can do with the NFT that provides the value.
Yeah, reading about, I just literally hadn't, well, I don't read books all that often until recently, but once I was reading that, I was just like, I haven't seen, like, it talked about an NFT in I don't know how long.
Yeah.
But reading it, he was like, as I'm sitting here writing this book, I'm obsessed with NFTs, and I'm like, hold up,
Yeah.
like no
it's
one
pretty
said
crazy.
that
Yeah.
forever. Everyone's
Yeah.
trying to stay out of crypto like AI until we get a better grasp on it.
Yeah.
It's not like stay out of it, but everyone's treading more lightly now.
I don't
than
know,
they used
man.
to.
Like when we were talking the other day, we were talking about the Ethereum numbers at like 1800, and I'm foreshadowing some things because I want to do a book on like Market Watch soon for my next one,
Ooh.
so we
Oh.
can like get some passive
We're
income.
gonna be doing some
somehow.
trading here.
Bro, I
Yeah.
knew nothing about that. That would be fascinating to
Yeah, bro.
actually learn a little
It's
bit
great.
about
My
it.
friends are into it, like highly into it right now, and they're like, bro, once you learn it, like you'll be good.
Yeah, there's a lot of it all comes down to like human psychology
Yeah,
and
bro.
like cycles.
Yeah, it's literally the
History
same
repeats
trends.
itself.
Yeah.
Exactly,
History
bro.
repeats
Yeah.
itself
'Cause
in everything.
It was at 1800 the other day, and I was telling Chase like the high I saw it was at like 4500,
Yeah.
and if I would have stayed in it, bro, I would be I
Be
would be
good.
pretty good
You'd
right
be
now.
good.
But yeah, that's that's for another time. So
Yeah. But yeah, that honestly that was the last section of that part.
this is good, bro.
So
There's
how-
so many talking points.
Yeah,
in
how
this
we
book.
like it so far.
I enjoy it.
You like
I
it?
really do.
Solid book.
And this next set of reading is going to be even better because then we go into like life applications.
Is that part two? of
Yeah,
it?
speaking of like where are we ending?
So if we
So we're at
read it-
patience.
Yeah, we're on 51. We're going what another 40.
Yeah.
So that's
Where's a
like
good stopping?
91. Oh, man.
This one's
Yeah, this goes deep.
There's some
So
chapters.
we may
in
just
this.
want to we may just have to pick a close off. Like
Yeah, I
what if
was
we
gonna
stop at
say-
91 and we just stop at like scenario 6?
Or what
Right
about
above that
87?
dash or 87.
87.
87.
51 to
Oh,
87.
okay. I like 87.
Yeah, it's a hard stop.
That's a good one. Cool.
All right, I'm with that.
We'll write that down.
Yeah.
87.
But
Yeah, man.
but yeah, so yeah, I overall like it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
bro.
pretty good.
It's been great.
It is really crazy though, because I forgot that like I remember this book coming out and it was like about like a year ago or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so like hearing his perspective on it, past tense, and now you're looking at it like, well, damn, I wonder what he feels like now
Yeah.
looking back at it as
That's
he wrote it.
that's all I could think about that. Because what's funny is we didn't even do a single highlight out of curiosity,
Yeah.
but because I blew it up with the whole NFT thing in the first line. It's we spent the entire thing talking about. But
Yeah. That's true. I mean, I didn't have anything
no,
else.
I only had like one highlight. It's no big
What
deal,
is it, bro?
but-
Let's share it with the people.
If
What,
you
the
want
highlight?
Come
Yeah.
on, bro.
You-
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna make okay.
took the
'cause
time to
honestly,
highlight it.
Come on.
low
Yeah,
key,
bro.
you know why I
Come on.
highlighted it?
Come on.
It's because this passage right here is basically what he said on the podcast that made me drop out of college.
Stop. Really?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay. You were gonna
Yeah,
just
I was
not
Well,
say
like,
this?
we
yeah,
were
bro.
just moving on.
No,
but
man, come on.
it said he wrote down. He said, "I'm fascinated how big all this can get. I want to see it through. The second crucial thing in the world, in the word, is the definition above is to learn. Those who follow my content on social media are often confused by my perspective on education. I believe education is the foundation of success, but I also think we should question the way it's sold to us in America today. If you live and breathe entrepreneurship and truly have potential to be a business person, then it's worth debating whether taking on college debt is worth it. More students, parents, and organizations need to consider the value of college for their specific ambitions." And that, like,
Oh,
it
I
just like
remember that,
reminded
yeah.
me of
Yeah.
just like it wasn't exactly, but it was the concept of like you should really choose because the world's the world's set up more for failure than it is for success.
It
So
is.
it's so unfortunately true. So like if you follow all the tracks like from step 1 all the way to 15 or whatever it takes you to get to college, like the steps are going to say go do this or go do your life this certain way. So I feel like I like anyone that'll at least try to get you to challenge it because it's not going to reach everyone, right? Like I feel like almost everyone's going to go to college, but it helped me. It at least helped me. It helped me like 3.5 years too late.
Yeah.
But like it helped me. So like I can read this and be like almost everyone's gonna be like, yeah, bro, I'm going to college. Like it's just what my parents want me to do. Sometimes it's easier. Like if your parents pay for your whole life and then they want you to go to college, do you owe them for that? That's a conversation for a different day. But like if they're gonna pay for everything your whole life and like that's whatever. But for the people that have the opportunity or like you don't think you need it, you don't want to go get your degree just to go work at Foot Locker or
Right.
Walgreens or
Yeah.
something like that. Just
Yeah.
go work at Foot Locker or
No-
just go.
No
do-
shade to those
go,
people
no,
though.
I love Foot Locker, but
Me too, and Walgreens.
but yeah, and Walgreens, yes, and Walgreens. No shade. I don't think we're gonna get. We only got a few subs, new podcast, but no, I just thought that it's gonna reach anyone pushing like this. It's gonna reach the people that it needs to reach. I just like that.
Yeah,
Like
for
if
sure.
if you can speak on it, like the more people that speak on it, the more people that are gonna be able to kind of try to get in touch with that.
Yeah. No, I think school is necessary, but not for everyone.
No,
Yeah,
no.
exactly.
It's certain level of schooling.
And
Yeah.
Like obviously, like please.
I
get
hate
your
that.
high school diploma and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Like
everyone
doctors,
needs
like
a
they're
foundation.
specified.
but-
Yeah, you need certain level of education. I'm not saying stop learning.
No.
I'm
yeah.
saying
No.
don't
you
pay.
have to
I'm
keep
not.
learning.
I'm
it.
not saying don't
Yeah.
pay someone to learn everything. Don't go somewhere where you have to learn science, math, music. But if you only care about music,
Yeah.
or you only care about something else, and there's an avenue for it, which most of the time there is. You just have to be willing to do it. Like it's easier for me to just go to college and pay $150,000 than it would be to go ask this bank if they need an intern.
Right.
It's probably easier to just ask the bank if I can come on. Just like if we've talked all the time, we'd rather just have a fresh thing of clay and just be able to mold someone into what we need them to do than having to break down everything they taught you before.
Yeah.
That's one way to look at it. So
Yeah. But yeah, no,
That's very true.
it's super interesting when it comes to like the whole education stuff. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you are the byproduct of what he said.
Literally.
And so far, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you're the only one that can speak on it. But did you make the right decision? So far.
I don't have any regrets. I don't choose.
Yeah.
I don't choose to live with regrets. So
There you go,
this
man.
is the decision that was there to be made.
There we go.
I think you're doing pretty good.
Hey man, I appreciate it.
How many subs are you guys at?
Hey, we're cruising.
We're at 3.
We are at.
Oh,
we are at
we're not talking about
19,000.
we're not talking about the book club.
No,
one?
we're
No,
talking about-
we're talking about
Oh.
YouTube. We
Yes.
are at 19 something.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I don't know
climbing.
what it- 19
Yes.
I think 19.9 on it. We're gonna hit 20K within the next couple days. So
We're
that's,
we're gonna
awesome.
celebrate 20K.
that's massive.
We're gonna.
We
I'm
probably
gonna,
won't, but we're gonna try to.
I'm gonna record a small video when I walk in that
Yay!
day.
20K.
Congrats.
Yeah, and you know what our face is gonna be? What really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep on going. Moving on though. All right, let's switch over.
That wraps up the book club.
Segments.
Book club, bros. Transitioning into
segments. Short segments. Short snippets. I don't
Yeah,
know.
let's go.
short snippets.
Short snippets.
I want to start because I want to ask you guys a question at the end.
Go for it.
I like it.
We're just gonna go real quick on this one. So our quote of the day today is from Anne Frank. How wonderful it is that nobody need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world. Basically, if you don't understand that in the layman's terms, you don't have to wait to be great. You can do it now. Like you can literally get up and do it now. So if you're listening to this podcast and you hear this voice, go do it. Whatever it is, just go do it, bro
I like it.
or girl.
Don't wait till January.
Yeah.
Don't wait till January.
Oh, I mean that's what we did with this. Podcast.
Exactly.
We
yeah.
could have been like,
Just
oh,
gotta
let's start
start
it next year, you
Yeah.
know,
You could
because
pick
then
a
it's like
day.
every 12 years or
Start
every
it on
12
a
months.
Monday. Whatever day makes you feel like you're starting it with some type
Just
of
start.
schedule. Just start it.
Yeah.
Just start it.
I think the best thing about that is like no one cares about when you started. You
As-
know, it's
as
like
long as you do it.
yeah,
No,
That's
I
it.
mean, if you're trying to push it back or pick a perfect date, that's just a mental.
Yeah.
I'm trying to give myself a little more.
That's
time.
resistance.
I'm trying to give myself a little more time. That's resistance.
It is.
Facts.
all
I
right.
like that. That's a good quote. And Frank too.
Shout out to Anne Frank.
Shout out to
Goodness gracious.
Goodness gracious. It shouldn't be that funny.
Oh man.
That's honestly on me.
All right, am I up next or are you?
You go ahead.
All right. Oh man. All right, I got a few. But
Oh, we got. All right, go. Give us two.
am I doing rapid fire? I got
Yeah,
3.
I mean, hey,
All right,
three?
ready?
this is
Okay,
good.
but make sure you
Just
give a
do it
pause.
within a
Don't
minute.
go fact.
All
You
right.
got to be able to respond to each
All right,
one.
ready? Rapid fire fun facts. Number 1. If a Google employee dies, their spouse will pay. Oh,
Okay, time out. Run that back.
All right.
Here we go.
Rapid fire fun fact. If a Google employee dies, their spouse will receive half their pay for 10 years as well as stock benefits, and any children will receive $1,000 a month until they turn 19.
Google's doing it
They
right.
are set. Oh
Google's
man.
doing it right.
Work-
Shout out,
yeah, you
shout
gotta
out to
have
them for that.
Highest work employee.
There you go. Next up. Mix 1/4 cup of vinegar, honey, and take 1 tablespoon 6 times a day to kill bacteria for your sore throat.
Wow.
I'm always for the home remedies. I've gargled salt water personally.
Same.
I hate doing that.
Same.
Yeah.
I
I'm
hate
about
it
it.
too, but it's effective.
Crying about it. And finally, the best type of music to work to is a video game soundtrack because they are not
it.
designed to mess with your focus.
I knew it.
That
'Cause
bumps.
When you play video games, you don't realize that music's going.
Yeah.
It's just going, and
Yeah.
you feel good.
There's this song I loved it from like Battlefield or whatever, and I have
Oh,
it like on my
man.
playlist. Like it's just always I've had the same Apple iTunes login since 7th grade, so like it's just on my playlist, and it'll come up sometimes, and like it'll come up when I'm working sometimes, and it's like you're working to the beat. It's like
Yes.
you're almost working on a
Yes, bro.
rhythm, bro. Yeah, I
There you
believe
go.
that. I'm
Those
with
are
you.
the fun facts of the day.
I like that.
That was
Facts
great.
went crazy today.
All right. What do we
Okay.
got, Landon?
Today we got ourselves a little thought-provoking question. Don't take too much time, just enough. So if you had to teach something, anything in this world, what would it be? If you had to teach something.
Ooh.
If I had to teach something, like, all right,
Teach
hold on.
one thing.
Is
Teach
it like
one thing for the
classroom
rest of your
setting?
life. Anything. Anything. You can teach someone to fly. You can teach someone to read. You can teach someone to ride in a car. You can teach someone to code. What would you want to teach someone? Like you're just a teacher. This is not your job.
All right,
What you got?
I'm gonna go. Basketball.
I knew you were gonna do that.
Yeah,
but
of
I wanted-
course.
I wanted
That
to
was
make sure-
just-
It wasn't a. It's not. It's kind of thought provoking, but also it's
Yeah.
just whatever
Just
your
basketball.
your brightest light is that goes off in your head. What would you teach?
Dude, I don't know. There's so many. I'd probably say like coding because that's just like what I do the most
Yeah.
right now. So like I feel like I could teach someone,
Teach me,
teach you to code,
bro. Let's do it,
dude.
please. I want to learn so
Yeah.
bad.
That
I
would
really
be
do.
fun.
you could definitely teach someone to code. I would say the same thing, but I would probably choose baseball.
Yeah.
Baseball over
Coach a sport.
basketball.
I don't know. It's yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's just something about it. Basketball is
Really?
like very intense and fundamental.
I was
like,
gonna pitch a
baseball-
segment that we do like basketball fundamentals on a
Yeah, bro.
podcast.
We need to.
We should,
Or
bro.
on
This
our-
guy trains.
on
Yeah,
our-
bro. I was thinking
on
about
our
doing that though,
YouTube.
like weekly snippets. Like here's your workout for the day, basketball workout for the day.
Yeah.
Or like try this. You're like try this like
Right.
dribble
Yeah,
move, or
try this
Like
workout.
try this
Your
workout.
shot sucks. Here's
Yeah.
the 3 things to help.
Hashtag shoe wear.
Well, we can't do that anymore. He wants to do baseball, so
That's great. Just meet me at the Diamond. It's too hot. We'll do baseball in like December. Yeah, that's so crazy. It would if it was Missouri, I'd be like, let's go. We're running out of time. But now it's
Right.
Florida. It's like, yeah, we'll do baseball in December.
Right.
there
Right.
you go.
At the peak.
Oh
But-
my gosh.
That's awesome. No, I like that. That was a good one.
All right. So
And then
my
he had one more
my,
question.
my
for us, yeah.
quick question is, so I was watching some footage from my LA trip, and my friends were having this conversation. We were at the observatory, and one of my friends, he's taking a video of like everything that's going on. He's like, and our other friends like, look at him, he's a tourist, and
Oh,
fast
this is-
forward,
all right.
he's like, it's good to be a tourist. I came out here to learn, and the conversation goes, why do we need passports if we're residents of Earth itself and we were born here? So we should be able to travel wherever we want to without a passport, just so we could see our homeland in general. And I just wanted to see what you guys thought about that.
Power constructs in other countries.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
politics.
I agree.
It's-
Like intrinsically, I'm like, I wish we could just all unite because this actually, that's funny. This sparks me to the end. What I guess everyone's kind of talking about somewhat of this because there was that recent alien hearing.
Oh
where,
my goodness,
the
bro.
government,
Bro,
the
that's
government
so
hearing, whatever.
whack.
But
You
listen
know
to
it's
this.
whack.
But yeah,
Yeah.
but listen to this. This guy brought up this question. Shout out Nick Wright. I'll shout out his podcast. I watch it every day. So he at the end of there, they were like talking like, do you believe or do you not? And he's like basically rounding out to the point where he's just like, if they sense like if the aliens are like we get alerted that they got a beam on us that can wipe out the earth, do you think the world would come together?
I would hope
to
so.
like fight the alien. No. But like
Oh,
legitimate. Like take 1 second and think about
yeah,
it. Do you think the world would unite?
yeah.
There's
It's
no
the
way
same.
we would.
It's this. Yeah, no, no,
There
no,
is
no, no.
No way we would.
Same thing. Same thing. What? Stop.
You don't
No
think so?
way we would.
If
You
there
don't
was a
think so?
if there
Oh,
was
no
a
way we would.
if
We're
there
gonna
was
have
an
to come up.
asteroid that is on
Clear
target,
everything.
I think there's a protocol already set up where like we'll send nukes
Yeah.
from
That
all these
makes sense.
countries
Right,
to
right,
blow
right.
up the asteroid.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It's the same thing.
And that's no. Well,
I don't know if an
Aliens are
alien's got a
tough.
beam on us. Somebody might be like, "Look, aliens, we'll cut you a deal.
No,
you can
I
have this
swear.
part of
I
land. Like,
swear.
let's
like,
take it over together."
Oh, I was thinking like,
like
there's,
I don't
they're
think
not making
collectively.
deals.
I think
like,
we're
the
past the
beam's
part where we
coming.
collectively come together. Here's the other question, and this is gonna be a fast one. We should, since we already
This
did
is-
it, we'll get some good short content at the end of this podcast.
Oh.
Aliens. All right, same exact scenario. We got the beam on us. We're gonna kill you, but you can send one person to reason why we shouldn't. Who are we sending? You
they
can
have to be
send
alive?
one person to
Gosh, bro.
negotiate on humanity's behalf.
Do they have to be alive?
No.
So it's
No,
anyone.
some person
anyone
on
ever.
humanities, but maybe they would have to be alive.
God,
actually. No,
who
they
am I
have to
gonna
be
No,
alive.
this is like
This is
anyone.
a legitimate scenario.
Like,
If
right now.
aliens are as real as people think they are, then this is a scenario that we can't go back and get like George Washington. Like, who right now are we sending on humanity
to represent
to represent
world.
mankind? They can speak whatever
Mankind,
language that
Bro,
we send out
this
there.
that's tough. That's so tough.
I'd say an answer, but I don't want to tell you the answer that they gave.
Hmm.
I was kind of in lockstep with it too.
I don't know, man. That's so difficult.
Say Elon
Com-
Musk.
You're going with Elon?
Yeah.
That's
he's pretty
interesting. I was
level-headed.
thinking
You want to know exactly what you just did? It's good. He just ended humanity. Elon Musk is making a deal with the aliens to wipe out humanity and stay alive.
Yeah, right.
Yes, he
No.
is.
I think he
What
would.
is your answer?
I think he would.
What is your answer?
No.
It's all right,
You
I
think
got
he would sell us out?
100%.
I
More
think he
people.
would, bro.
more
Elon
people-
Musk would sell us out.
100%.
Hey man, look, I think Elon would be like, "Look, guys, let's cut a deal. Let me get some of your technology. I'll come with you. Like, what do we need to do?"
You're 2-1, and this isn't, and we haven't even opened it up to the comments.
All
I'm-
right.
all right,
Okay.
who are you
fine.
sending?
Fine.
No,
I
you,
said
Oh,
Elon.
That's
sorry,
good, that's
sorry, my
good.
bad. I was gonna give you.
I don't know,
chance.
bro. For some reason, my mind keeps telling me Will Smith.
Oh, I like that.
What, he's gonna slap him?
Yeah, like I
Oh,
don't.
I
I
like
feel
that.
like I don't know. It's just Will Smith for some
Will
reason. That's
Smith?
what my mind keeps going to.
Mine
Dude,
was
you need
between
someone
the-
that's very tempered.
Mine was between
Right.
The Rock
I was
and
thinking
Will
The
Smith.
Rock
Ooh, The
too.
Rock's
or
not bad.
and Elon.
They said Barack Obama.
I would see that was my second one. That
He's
was
a
my
smooth
second
talker
one.
for sure.
Smooth talker. That's like negotiate. I guess it's the best negotiator. I don't know. Maybe
I
the
don't
top
know.
lawyer of all time.
Obama, that'll be, bro.
Obama.
He would be willing to do it too.
He'd
Just
do
be
it.
Like,
I
all
mean, we
right.
don't got much else to live for,
It'd be kind
man.
of crazy
Yeah.
though.
Boy,
It
in
would
this
be, bro.
scenario,
Like,
we don't got much else to live
What kind
for.
of rounds would like
Who just did, like,
tries
who's
out
your
for that?
starting
Like,
five?
I volunteer.
Who's your
You're like,
starting five?
You're gonna
I
represent
got,
the
like,
world.
We're sending Barack Obama, Taylor Swift, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I like that.
I'm trying like we gotta send out a
T
starting
Swift.
five.
See,
to
but
'em.
that's
T-Swift's
all
our
got
from
five, our
America.
top five versus their top five.
That's all from America though.
We got no recruiting. If they have a
That's
beam on
true.
us, then they
That's
know
fair.
everything about us. They
I
know
don't know,
everything
man.
about. They know who our top person. You imagine they're like, if they send this person, we'll let them live.
I wonder
Oh,
who's the
that's so good.
number one person in the world.
How do you get that? Bezos.
Probably the most followed. Would that be it?
Would it be most followed? I think
guess.
that sounds like a fair category.
Who's-
Most
Alright.
followed.
Who's the most followed?
So I
It
guess
might
that
be
would that
like-
would be the
It
number
might
one.
be
then.
Messi.
I was thinking. I was literally just about to say that, bro.
Our
It might
hands
be
aren't
Leo
messy.
Messi.
Let's see here. On what platform?
Man,
Let's just go Instagram.
who's the most followed on any platform? I guess.
Oh yeah,
Most
or you
followed
could go.
person.
Who's the most followed person? Because like if someone's got,
Cristiano Ronaldo.
I was gonna say Ronaldo or
Ronaldo.
Messi.
Yep.
What does he got?
He's gotta have like.
What is the number that they say
gotta be, like,
to give him the?
700
I don't know,
million.
There's one.
Dude, it-
There's one that says 385 million.
Oh
I
my
think
gosh,
it's
bro.
gonna be. I think it's gonna be.
Cristiano
Messi.
Ronaldo has 598 million.
Oh my.
followers on
goodness,
Instagram.
bro. I don't.
I thought.
I don't
Wait,
even
isn't there
follow.
billions of followers on TikTok though? Like, don't you have like?
I don't think there's
Oh,
a billion.
wait, billion.
I don't think a billion.
This is.
I think there's
bro.
millions.
Maybe
Alright.
it's not
That's
even.
a half a billion
it's not
people.
even. What is it?
I think our
700
our hands
no,
are
my
with
bad.
Ronaldo.
785 million working toilets. So that does put it back in perspective. There's
Oh,
there's
man.
not a billion.
Oh,
So,
man.
I guess our hands are in with Ronaldo.
Ronaldo.
Then.
If we're going the most popular person,
Handsome guy.
Yeah, I
Very
mean,
in-
you
very-
can't.
Athletic.
If he's got to like fight him
I don't know many. I
or
don't,
like run away,
I don't
he'll
know.
run away.
I don't
quick.
think there's a lot of enemies with Ronaldo. He's done it right.
Yeah, I mean, he does what he's supposed to do, bro.
There's some
That's
people
it.
that don't like him, but I like
I'm
him.
sure
I don't know why. I know
People-
that there's some people that don't.
the teams that he's beaten don't like him.
No, yeah, makes
of
sense.
course.
No. Won't
see-
be a team if there's an alien
I
coming.
feel like Messi, with him coming
My
over to the United
gosh.
States, is gonna pass that. Did you see how fast his social media
Bro.
was growing whenever he came to Inter Miami?
And he scored like the game winner.
And then
on-
he's then he's blowing
that's
up. Like
legendary.
he might pass him just
Legendary.
because like I feel like that's the only way, right? Is to like if LeBron went and played in China, he might become the most
Oh
followed
my
person.
god! If LeBron
Because-
went to China,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, we're gonna
like-
go into a loophole. We're
Yeah,
gonna have
no,
to
we've
cut this
been
off
in
soon
one
because
for a
goodness
minute.
gracious. Thank you guys for listening.
Yeah.
This has been
Yeah,
the
we're good.
Bros Book Club.
That was
Yeah.
a good question though.
The only
It's a good
I like
question
that.
though.
The only people
yeah.
hearing this part's gonna be when it gets cut up into shorts. If
Yeah.
anyone sticks around to the end of this podcast,
Oh, they're true. You
we'll
might as
send
well
you
subscribe.
shoes.
Book
We'll send
Club
you
Bros.
shoes. You
But
guys are book
The
club bros.
BCB podcast.
Yep, and that's gonna be it. That's gonna wrap it up for the BCB Book Club Bros podcast, part 1 of the 12 and a half by Gary Vaynerchuk. Until next week, peace.